Hello, everybody. Starting the forge up. Trying to get this sucker going tonight. See what we can do here. See if we can get it started up here. Which projects we're going to work on. Let's get a layer to that. Oh, yeah, that'll get a kick. Maybe we'll finish a few projects that we started the other night. We're going to talk about pattern welded steel, also known as Damascus. Got a little piece here. It came from a guy that specializes in doing Damascus out in Alabama. We're going to do a sax, a sax, kind of Viking style knife. Got to decide on our angles. Got to decide what we're going to do for a handle. Right, well, we're getting some heat in that second now. Cook up a little bit. So sax. So there's all different kinds of patterns, and I'm not that familiar with. This looks like a ladder pattern to me. Thank you very much. Thanks. Thanks. So I don't specialize in making Damascus. I have made, I don't like calling it Damascus. I like to call it pattern welded steel. Boy, it didn't take too long for that to get hot. Man, that is hot. So I think we're going to do kind of a, I really want to do some kind of a, like a saddle. Saddle horn style. When you're building these knives, of course, you got to, I got kind of a fat palm, so I always figure about 4 inches per handle. And not 4 inches from the end, but 4 inches from where your hand's going to fit. And of course, as I grind, it will be better. So there's our blank. So that's going to be overall, that knife will be 12.5 inches. Blade length, about 8.5. I might actually bring it back just a little steeper. The more you bring this back, though, the weaker the point becomes. So it's one of those things that as I cut and grind, yeah, that's a little better. As I cut and grind, so that's gone. I'm going to roll this a little bit, I think. Keep that right to the edge. Want to leave all the meat that I can. And then I'm going to put some file work on the top of it. So that's what we're looking at here. But I wanted to show that those Damascus pattern welded blanks. All right, so I think we're going to forge the other. We got him about half started. So I think we're going to forge the other half of him. Last time we were doing this little trick here, we did some wall hooks. And we did a couple of knife blanks with the horse faces on them. And we did some hook picks. And these you can find on my store on the Etsy. And you can also find these steer heads on there. Let me see if I can answer some questions. So let's see what's going on here. Love the bling. Yeah, thank you. Thanks. Nice chain. Thanks. Tips for making bevel. This message has been held in review. Well, somebody's being a turd burglar already. Pretty used to that on here, though. You guys moderate yourselves. Don't get me cooked off with putting your hateful comments on there. If you don't like it, just go find somebody else to watch, man. It ain't that big of a deal. These nice nights, it's starting to cool down here in Cody. The nights are kind of cool, cooling off. It's a great time to be outside. This coal forge is quiet. Thanks, man. I worked so hard for this that I was inspired by Flavor Flav, and I have been wearing it in town. Okay, I got to go find a hammer and some tongs and some tools. I didn't even bring any out. Now that I know you guys want to watch this stuff, I've been trying to get some internet in this shop, and I have had no luck. I've tried 3 different companies to try to get some internet in here, and I have had absolutely no luck at getting internet. Everybody and their brother has moved to Cody, Wyoming in the last 3 years. And so you can't get wireless internet. And all the cable companies are so busy that you can't even get them to stop. We're going to do one of these steer heads. I've got him on the end here. I'll show you. We're going to do one of these. Hopefully he's going to be a wall hook. We're going to do that. I might try, if I can find a piece of steel, I might try to do, we're kind of getting into that time of year, I might try to do a skull. Kind of see what happens. Let me see if I can find a steel. I even got a set of tongs. You really got to watch your stock in this coal forge because it does get hot. If anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer for you. We're just drawing those out. You always want to try to draw them out in a square. Everything draws out a lot easier if you're trying to do it with a square instead of round, and then we'll make it round eventually. I'm getting down on the fuel. About time for me to go over to my coal man and get some more coke. See, that's about where we want to be. I know that you can't tell the color because the camera overexposed. I'm going to rough this in a little bit. I'm not going to bother to pull the punches and everything out, but let's see if we can do a. So I'm just starting with a piece of 1/2 inch square stock. This is just a piece of something that I had laying there. We're going to try to forge them up. Just using what we have here in front of us. Anvil. Try to find a good edge on the anvil to lay a set down. Do a little set down there. Try not to burn the end of our horn off. Look, I got him a little almost too hot. So I use my anvil to kind of measure, making sure that we've got our horns about even. We're pretty good there. I'm going to round them up now. Let's see what we can do with this. Let's see what we can do with this. I might have to go get a different hammer. Trying to find a good edge here on this 120-year-old anvil. They call that an offside half-faced blow, what I'm doing there. And that's how you get that shape. Okay, I'm gonna kind of just set these on top of this fire because man, is it hot. I've got air turned all the way off. So I'll come around here and try to answer some questions. So let's see what we got going on here. We got, can't make your own. Yeah, I can make my own, but I wanted to hang it. I might make my own at some point. We talked about that. My buddy and I talked about making my own chain, but I wanted to get it worn. So I'll probably do that at some point. It's really not about the chain. It's about it's really not about the chain. It's about thanks. I got the drip. Oh, you like my little wagon? Yeah. I use it for everything. Stuff in a blacksmith shop is heavy. Okay, so now that we got that squared up, we're gonna knock those corners down. Now we have 8 sides. Just gonna and that's how you round it up. So I got a round side here. I got a round side. That side's round. That side's still square. So now we kind of got to figure out I'm kind of upsetting that, pushing that back, because I don't want his head to be flat, square. Something like that. You even see it? There you can kind of see it. What I'm doing there. We have to go get an eye punch and a nose punch. Let's round up the other horn on this before we do that, though. Done. These steer heads are weird shape. They're hard to hold with a set of tongs. So a lot of times that's what I'll do is I'll take a piece of bar, I'll do one on each end, and that way that gives you something to hang on to while you're working, so you don't have to use a set of tongs. One of the hardest things I teach everybody when I'm doing blacksmithing is how to manage the tongs. It's a struggle. Low flux in the silver. True that. Yeah, I don't think I want a free ditty. Yeah, a knife is a hard thing. You know, I always tell people when you start blacksmithing, and I learned the very first thing we did was we forged tools. And one of the first tools I forged in blacksmithing school and horse farrier school was a hoof pick. It gives you You know, a blacksmith only does 8 things. You weld, you rivet, you draw out, you bend, you upset. 7 or 8 things is all a blacksmith does. So let me go get I'm gonna go get a couple of punches. So we're gonna kind of sculpt some places in his face, so we got to have some specialty tools. Of course, you can't go down to Walmart and buy these. You got to make them. These ones are made out of tool steel, and that's one of the things that you really ought to kind of specialize in when you're first doing your blacksmithing is making tools. Okay, so this is the hard part. So I got to hold, use my legs as a clamp. Okay, where did I put the brush? Brush there. Can you see his little happy little face there yet? I'll get a light out here better in a minute. So I got his eyes and his nose hole in. Now we got to do his mouth. I might need another punch to do his teeth. So we're going to make sure these are round. And then we're going to do a little courtesy bend. Generally bend them backwards of each other. My forge pot isn't very big, and so you can't get much of your work into the forge. So you bend it up like that, and that allows you a chance to heat up the part of the steel that you want to be hot. If you like the content, if you like this is up your alley, please share it and subscribe and do all that stuff. I got too big of a chisel. I need a itty bitty chisel for this. can see it. I'll show him to you better later here. I need a little bitty tiny chisel though to do his teeth. Heat him up. We'll do a little more bend on old stitch mouth here. Okay, so there he's starting to look a little steer-esque. Let me see if I can go find a tiny chisel. Itty bitty 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 bitty. Itty bitty chisel for his teeth. I'm gonna let him warm up there a little bit. Okay, questions. Enough taco, open your eyes and pay attention, yeah? We're doing a skull. Patience, Taco. Taco Tuesday. I had taco salad for dinner. Hello, good morning from Indonesia. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think we're exactly 11 hours apart. Okay. All right. Can't step away from this too much though, or I'll burn up my work. And he's kind of turning out pretty good, so I don't want to screw him up. This is a tricky thing to hold with your legs, squeezing the tongs. Squeezing the tongs. It's so quiet, this forge. It's just really relaxing. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Now we're talking. See if I can get a light on here. Can't really. Here, we'll turn him around this way. There, you can see him. Woo, spooky. He's even got teeth. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Now let's see if we burnt up my steer head while we were screwing around with him. Nope, we're good. Woo, he's starting to look a little scary now. I'm going to tighten up his nose a little. And then maybe we'll even go ahead and put his, I got the punch here to do his nose. So maybe we'll do his nose here while we're at it. I haven't done a live stream on YouTube much. So the last couple are just experiments to see what happens. See if I can actually do one from my phone here. We don't have good internet here in Cody, Wyoming, and so it's a challenge. It's funny how during COVID I didn't have any trouble doing live streams, and then it slowly slowed down since then. During COVID, I was doing one almost every day on Reddit. Well, we just did a little skull. We're working on a steer head hook, a set of them. Are you making? Yeah, making a longhorn. We're doing a longhorn right there. I guess I could go get his eye. His eye. I'm gonna use the round of that hammer. And the round of the horn. And I'm just gonna kind of relieve. And then maybe what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put his nose in. Woo! Look out! It's hot. I don't have a vise set up out here, and it makes this challenging when I don't have a vise to do this kind of work. Kind of an impromptu deal. Let's see if I can do his mouth. Use this chisel. Very short chisel and very hot steel. Boy, you don't want to forget which end is hot. Grab the wrong end. Okay. So there we got most of his face done there. You can see his nose and his mouth on that side. We got to do the other side, got to do an eye. Somewhere here I have an eye punch if I could find it, but it's blacker than night out here. I know I brought one out, but for the life of me, I can't find it here. Eye punch. So you'll just have to be blind until I can come up with it. Well, we're letting the other side of his face warm up. Let's see what happens here. What's going on over here? I should use Galaxy gas. I don't think so. Good morning, wherever you are. Hello, everybody all over the world. I hope you're having a good day. It's Tuesday evening here in Cody, Wyoming, the east entrance of Yellowstone National Park. Try to hold him with my leg like that. There's a little hole in the top of this anvil called a pritchel hole, and it's just the right size for his horn as long as his horn is straight. Gosh, I hope I didn't lose my eye punch. Would be very upset if I had to make another one after 20 years. Okay. Jisut. There's the face. So all he's missing is his eyes. And then what I'll do is I'll measure those out and I'll cut them off. And I'll do the scrolly bit because they're going to be a set of matching hooks. Generally, if I'm making a set, I'll do 4, and I'll take the 2 that match the best, and they'll become a set, and then the other ones end up on a Etsy store or downtown. It's just like these. These are little wall hooks with leaves on them. We did, I don't know, the other night. And matching is the challenge. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not going to go too long tonight just because I'm tired. It's been a long day. Don't you like it? God, it took me a long time to get it. And so during the Olympics, I saw that Flava Flav had he sponsored the women's water polo team, and I thought, wow, that's cool. So I thought my little homage to Flav from back in the day. You got to be of a certain age to know who he is. Hello. Yeah, it was actually about 4.5 years or something to go from 1,000 to 100,000. The ironic part of this is I've done it totally with my phone and no internet in this blacksmith shop. So every video, over 1,100 videos, all done on my phone, edited on my phone. Flava. We're working on a steer head hook. I'm gonna bend his horn. So the thing that makes a steer head hook or a steer head is you got to get the horns right. So the trick to getting the horns right is they have a specific type of curl. So there's one done and one not done. And you can see that there's quite a difference in them. I'll let his other horn warm up, and we'll do the other one, then we'll have it. This is just a few celebratory live streams because I'm very proud of this. And I thought maybe somebody might notice it. There's some people in my life I'd like to see it that have kind of supported me through this deal. And this bud's for you, this one. India, oh my goodness. Well, I should have started this a little earlier, but I got sidetracked today. I was posting a bunch of stuff. Okay, it don't take very long to get him warm, as you can see. Bad part is I got to get down on my hands and knees almost. And I always want to curl up. Always ends up opening up his face. So there he is, everything but his eyes. And I got to find my eye punch, and then we can do the eyes. I don't know if it's easier to film this way or the other way. Like I said, I'm experimenting. I'm trying to see how this is going to work. Still trying to get some internet in the shop. One of these days I might be able to get some if I keep trying. Thanks. Yeah, I've done, I don't know how many thousands of these. I bet I've done near 1,000 of those steer heads. I think I've sold over 600 of them on the Etsy store. Generally, I do them in big sets. Let's cool off. Let's cool off the skull, and I'll show him to you. I'm gonna grab a hold of him though. Can't just go down and buy these little tiny punches and stuff to do these faces. And then he's got it twisted. I'll probably draw something out here. I mean, he ain't perfect, but it's blacker than the inside of a cow out here. I'm having a hard time seeing my work. And you can tell we're right out by the road, everybody driving by. I'm going to get some internet in this shop sooner or later. We'll draw a spike out on the other end and make him into. That was, I was showing somebody how you can twist that material up there, and that's why it was just a little piece of 1/2-inch bar I had left. I don't really have a opinion on Jake, Paul, and Mike. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I just put it in, I quenched it off in water. Because this is mild steel, it won't harden. There is no carbon in this, in most of this mild structural steel, and so it doesn't harden up. So pretty much you can quench it, and you don't have to worry about it hardening, getting hard in the quench in the water. Thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, so this is 36 years as a professional blacksmith. I've been doing this for 36 years. I started in 1980. Really, I started doing forge work in the mid 80s, 88. But I started going to farrier school in 1990. Was a farrier for about 25 years professionally. And then I would blacksmith in the winter. When you weren't shoeing horses. But we had to learn a certain amount of blacksmithing in farrier school because we were making horseshoes, making our own tools. That's my 100,000 subscriber plaque. And I've seen a lot of guys do a lot of stuff with their plaques. I've seen them shoot them and blow them up and melt them and screw them to the wall. And but I ain't never seen nobody wear one around like Flava Flav. You can kind of read it there. It says it's backwards, but you can see Cody Iron Works, 100,000 subscribers. No, I'm just wearing it for you guys. Sure, I wear it all the time. I sleep in it. I sleep in it. Yeah. I have no idea, but thanks for the comment, I guess. I don't know what you're saying. Whatever. Woo, we got him hot. Let's draw him out. I don't have the greatest tongs for this. I should have grabbed it. I should have not put up the pair that I had and used the pair that I was using instead of changing. I was thinking maybe I was going to do something else. Generally, if you were being real serious about this, you'd have two things going in here at the same time, and while one was heating, you'd be working on the other, and you'd be swapping back and forth. But do I still? I never had a van, never had a stabbing cabin. I've owned pickups mostly my whole life. Because I've generally been pulling horse trailers and stuff. Yeah, sure do. See if I can do this without killing myself. I just wear it because I know there's a lot of guys online, a lot of people online that just can't stand it and gotta hate on stuff. And I kind of feel like if they're hating on me, then they ain't hating on somebody else. That it might hurt their feelings. Oh, got that one, huh? When you get that steel hot all the way through, boy, man, I gotta be careful because that is getting seriously hot down in that fire. It kind of moves like melted ice cream. Mighty good. I'm thinking. It always fascinates me how people will come on and take the time to leave bad comments when it's so much easier just to scroll on. Just that negative stuff, man, it takes up so much of your day. Thanks. I'm trying to be drippy. It's kind of celebration, so I wore a fancy shirt. I would generally wouldn't forge in this because it's way too nice of a shirt. But how hot does the metal get? Hot enough that it will turn into a gas. Down in that forge right there, it's probably 2200 degrees, about an inch below that. We'll make a little fantasy leaf up. I got that one drawn out really too much. But there's no mistakes, just happy accidents in this blacksmith shop. My little skull face turned out pretty good. Ooh! Put a magnet on that. Yeah, I have a piece of chain around here. I should put around it because it rings, but I kind of like it. You know, I kind of like it. It's a cheap anvil doesn't ring like that. You know, it's a good anvil. All right, let's see if I can do this trick. So hold with my legs, soft face of the anvil. This is the way wrong chisel to be doing this. This is a hot cutting chisel, so it's very sharp. And it doesn't move material, it cuts through it. And that's not what you want if you're doing decorative punching. You don't want to cut through the material. When it gets thin like that, it's really easy to cut through. So you got to be really careful. I'm trying to find a good edge on this anvil. At least heat there now. Of everything. Just about an hour in on this deal. The other night I did 2 hours. Yeah, I know it is. Let me see if I can find a piece of chain. This might help. A little better, maybe. Well, that quieted it up. Thanks. Guess I should have done that earlier. Kind of like that. Kind of turned out different. That's a different kind of a leaf than I usually do. Something's different. Sometimes good stuff comes out of accidents. All right, let's clean this booger up. That's generally what I'm going for, something like that. Generally. We'll see if we can't maybe use a different tool to do the veining instead of that hot hook out of it. It's going to look like this when I get done. We're not doing anything too serious in here because, you know, I'm wearing my Flava Flav. It's dark. We're going to try to just like that. I lost that heat, boy. It just left. Candle's cold. Thanks for everybody that's watching. Appreciate it. Thanks for everybody if you're interested in more of this and you want to see more, I've got 1,100 videos. Most of them are less than a minute long. But I've got some long videos, and I've got stuff on there from almost 10 or 11 years ago. So I've been at this a long time. Try this again. Round 2 on this leaf. Make sure I got the right side up. That's a short chisel. Well, that's all right. Not exactly what I wanted, but it'll work. You can do 1,000 of them, and they'll never be all exactly alike. You'll always have some variation in them. All right, well, we're going to finish up this one hook, and then I think we're going to call it because all the wackos are coming out tonight. And I know a wacko when I see one. So I made these tongs specifically to hold this kind of work. That's why they call them a bolt tong. They got this hole in there so you can get that work. You can get a hold of it like that. All right, questions, comments, other than wacky stuff? That book gonna be a fire hazard. No, it's aluminum clad with a shiny mirror in it. Woo, isn't that pretty? Me and Flav. All right, children. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. I'll be curious to see how this works out tonight. The last one I didn't do very good on. I was smoking a cigar, and I don't think YouTube likes cigars very much. So we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it different tonight and see what happens. Woohoo! Look at there. And now we have a wall hook. All I got to do is drill the holes in it. Get everything straight. Get everything set and level. This is where having a nice flat face on your anvil really helps. You've got a big old clapped out anvil. It's pretty hard to do this kind of work. I always tell people, don't mess around with an old anvil. Just go buy a new one. They're making really fairly good ones now. Way cheaper than you can buy one of these old ones. And if you don't ever forge on a new one, then you won't know the difference between forging on a new one and forging on one of these old ones. So you might as well just forge on an old one. Or forge on a new one, I mean. Because the new one's better. Hello. There you go. All right, everybody. Thanks. Get it hot and hit it. Always wear your safety pins. So treating each other nicely, huh? We don't have to be all divisive, right? We can get along, right? If you're going to make fun of somebody, make fun of somebody wearing something where they're looking for the attention. Or don't. That would be good too. Just don't do it. There was a time in America when we didn't know everybody's politics and stuff, and I think it was a better time, actually, when everybody wasn't so forthcoming about what they thought. What time is it? It is 9:27 p.m. Mountain Standard Time in Cody, Wyoming. I'm going to shut this forge off. I got to let it cool down. I can't walk away from it because it's sitting outside, and we're in the middle of a fire watch until we get some more moisture around here this fall. So I got to stand here and just wait for it to completely go out. The good thing about the coke is it'll be out in a few minutes. It's not like other kinds of fuel. It don't like to burn if it ain't got no air to it. So it'll be totally cool in just a few minutes here. The coke, yes. So coke is to coal what charcoal is to wood. So what they do is they take the coal and they put it in a retort and they cook all of the coal gases off, and you end up with an almost pure carbon. And it's way cleaner to burn. It doesn't smoke, but it doesn't like to burn unless it's got some air behind it pushing on it. You got to have a turbo behind it or else it won't run. So I start the forge generally with just a little bit of charcoal, and then I roll the coke in on top of it. And as long as I've got air going to it, it'll stay going. The minute I shut that air off, like right there, I just unplugged the fan that's feeding the bottom of the forge, and you can see it's already going out. See, it's already dark and going out. So it's my favored solid fuel. You know, I don't do a coal forge every day. Generally, my forge, I run propane. I use a Venturi. You can see it right back there on that table. There's a Venturi forge there. I use liquid natural gas propane. Well, you can always go watch the one I did the other night. It was turned out okay. It was fairly good. I've done 2 or 3 here this week just because I'm experimenting to see if these live streams are worth doing, or if I should just continue doing short videos. Now that I've reached 100,000 on the channel, it kind of opens up some possibilities. And so I'm kind of experimenting to see where I want to go with the channel now. Well, I don't know if it helps society, but I don't think it hurts it much. And there's something to be said for that. I'm the ultimate recycler. 80% of what I bake is out of used stuff. Used railroad spikes, old pieces of discarded steel, old horseshoes, old nails that nobody uses anymore. Even my tools are made out of discarded stuff. So, yeah. I've had some real jobs in my life, but seems like I've always come back to this and horses. The 2 things in my life that keep me on the planet. Blacksmithing, art, blacksmithing, and horses. I wouldn't want to do production stuff too much. I've done some of it, but but I wouldn't want to just do production stuff. It's not really my forte. So. And the YouTube is kind of fun. I'm working in the shop a lot by myself, and I'm standing in front of the anvil all the time, and so it's not that big of a deal to just set up the tripod and film what I'm making. Thank you, I appreciate it. Keep trying. The funny thing about blacksmithing is no matter how long you do it, no matter how good you do at it, you never learn it all because there's so many different things in blacksmithing that are just, everything from jewelry to making knives to repoussé work, scroll work and wrought iron. And there's just so many aspects of blacksmithing. I do bits and spurs. I do axes. Like here's a couple of the axes that I've made recently. And everybody goes, oh, you didn't make that axe, but I stamped it with my name. This one's got my name stamped in it. This one I made for myself. They're almost too much work in an axe when you're doing them by hand to sell. And so I'm keeping this one for myself. I'm going to cut my Christmas tree down with this one this year. Nothing like cutting a Christmas tree down that you actually, with an axe that you made yourself. I think there were so many blacksmiths in 1200. It's a funny thing. You 100 years ago, but 120 years ago, there were so many blacksmith shops. There was, in the little tiny town of Cody at the time, was probably 3,000 people. There was 4 blacksmith shops in Cody, Wyoming. And there isn't one picture of the inside of one. They were so ubiquitous, like mechanic shops today, that nobody bothered to take a picture of the inside of one. And how do I know? Because I'm trying to write a book about all the blacksmith shops in Cody, Wyoming, and there's pictures of the outside of every blacksmith shop, but I cannot find one picture of the inside of one blacksmith shop. A lot of blacksmiths around that there was a couple of different kinds of blacksmiths. There was in the Middle Ages, there was blacksmiths and whitesmiths. And whitesmiths, they did file work. So they would take the work that the blacksmith did and they would polish it up. And there was a whole group of them called whitesmiths. And they worked in the white metals. Yeah, that time right before the industrial age, before the machines, like there are screws in 1200 AD, 1200 AD, but they're all hand filed. There was no way to make a screw on a machine because there was no machine to make a screw. So you made a file, you made your screw blank, and then you filed the threads with a file into the screw. Every nail in the whole wide world until about 1850 was made by hand with a guy standing over a fire like this, and he made every nail. Let me see, I got some around. So this is a hand forged nail that I did. And every nail in every house up until about 1850 was hand forged by a blacksmith. And most nails weren't house nails back then. Most nails were used for horses, for holding on horseshoes. That was the first production nails that were made, were actually horseshoeing nails. And in most of Europe, the selling of horseshoe nails was controlled by the governments because they needed all the horseshoe nails for their cavalry. And so the cavalry would get all the horseshoe nails they needed first, and then everybody else would get the nails that they needed. Yeah. Well, the whole thing is 20 years ago I couldn't have made a living as a blacksmith in Cody, Wyoming. If it wasn't for the internet, I'd be working for the city. I'd probably be cleaning the rec center and doing the toilets and cleaning the freaking swimming pool, or working for the street department or something. Because I wouldn't be able to make a living without the internet and Cody. My whole business is my Etsy store. So yeah, that's my blacksmith shop. I've been in here about 5 years. It's been good. It's been good. It's been a great part of my life. My son here 2 years ago moved up to Cody. He's here. We go to dinner a couple of times a week, and there was years when I didn't get to see him. We didn't have a relationship. I didn't have a relationship with his mother, so I wasn't able to see him. When he got old enough, he moved up here, and it's been good. Life is good. Clearly, I'm not starving. And there have been times in my life when I was, so I'm pretty grateful. I don't do anything over 14 inches long because I don't have forge enough to heat anything over 14 inches long. Guys that make swords specialize in making swords, and they have special tools that they use to make swords, special quench tanks, special extra long forges. I could make a forge, but nobody'd want to pay what I need to get to make a sword. Nobody'd want to pay me because I'd have to make custom tools to do it. So. Yeah, I was angry. There was about 8 years in my life where I was really angry, and I'm just grateful I managed to stay out of jail and not die from drugs or alcohol. I managed to not go to be so mad that I did something stupid. This helped. This helped. It's hard to be mad when you spend all day hitting something with a hammer. It really, by the end of the day, you're too tired to do something stupid. All you want to do is go to sleep. And so this helped. It quiets the mind too. Well, I turned 53 in a couple of weeks, and it doesn't take much to go look at my backstory. I have quite a story. My backstory is kind of interesting. I was never had a problem. I never got so bad that I would consider myself an alcoholic. I knew that that was not a path I needed to take, but it was just always around, and you had to be very aware of it, and I managed to stay away. My thing was anger. I was really mad. And it's just by the grace of whoever you believe in, the universe or whatever, that I didn't end up in jail for breaking somebody. Because I'm big enough to break somebody. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It never stays the same very much. It changes a lot. Life does. Just about the time you think you got it figured out, something comes along, and so I don't take it too serious. Clearly, I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to try to help some other people enjoy it a little bit too, if I can. And if I can make a living at it and kind of direct some people to my Facebook page or my Etsy store, or great. Yeah. Well, it can be about you. I mean, life can be about you, but I don't know how fulfilling it is. My happy little skull face. Spooky time. Right around the corner. And here's that leaf we did tonight. And then we almost got the steer heads done. I need to put the eyes in them. Somewhere I got to find my eye punch. But there's the steer heads. Everybody, have a great evening. Get a hot and headed always wear your safety squints. If you like the content, slip over to the Etsy store. You don't have to buy anything. Just go like some stuff and share some stuff if you like it. The YouTube is great. Share, like, subscribe. And if this works out, I'll be doing a lot of these. Everybody, thanks.